Hello everyone, and welcome to Divine Debut. This is Kathy speaking with your Astro update. Astro today, the 5th of January of 2022, and it has been a very busy time over the holiday period, so I sort of am trying to catch up with what's going on in the stars. There's so much going on, everyone. As the year changes, the energies change, and the planets have been doing so many new things that have come in, new energies. As the year changes, we've just had a new moon in Capricorn on the 2nd of January, a new moon in Capricorn, right? So the first new moon of the year. Now the year started off with, let's go back to the first, as the year started off with a very important transit. So the sun has been connecting over to Uranus. So on the 1st of January, sun trining over to Uranus, very important, as we know. There's a lot going on in Capricorn, especially pertaining to love, as Venus, as we know, it has been retrograding since the 19th of December in this area, in the area of Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And we know it hasn't been easy in anything to do with our values, our money, our relationships, all relationships, not only romantic, as Venus has been connecting with Pluto. So it's like it's as though we're clearing out relationships in our lives that have not been working for us. Okay, and we know that Saturn, being a planet that's very restrictive and limiting, it's trying to, Kronos in mythology, Saturn was one to eat his own children. So there's a lot of fear connected to the archetype of Capricorn. Now, if you are a Capricorn and you're celebrating your birthday, happy birthday. Not all is negative with Saturn and with Capricorn, obviously. It's just that Capricorn is a mature and very stable cardinal earth sign, which needs security, which is mature enough, old enough, and one who would take charge, take the position of leadership, and be able to bring a sense of groundedness and security. Okay, now whether this is a Capricorn individual that's in your life, and we all have Capricorn somewhere in our chart, so we all can take the archetype of that strict and stern Saturnian archetype in different situations. For instance, some of you, those of you that are parents, and you have children, you have to steer them in the right direction, right? So you have to take on the form or the frequency of Saturn, the elder, the wiser. Take charge, because that's your position, to steer your children's lives in the right direction if they're out of line. So please, if you're a Capricorn and you're hearing me saying that Saturn is very limiting and strict, and it's not only, it's not pertaining to you, but more so to the archetype of the sign of Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is the positive side of Saturn, is the rewards after the hard work being done. Having something stable, long-term, and rewarding that will give us a sense of security. And remember, when we look at the sign of Capricorn, we also have to look across to the sign of Cancer. Cancer is more sensitive. It's more about being in a position to nurture or receive nurturing from a motherly source, right? Because Cancer is naturally the 4th house, where there is a sense of youth. There's youth in Cancer, because the youth, the young, the child needs to be nurtured by its environment, its home. Cancer is the home, it's the parents, it's the mother. It's got matters to do with the past, where we reside, which is our home. Do we have a roof over our head? And Capricorn is the opposite to what Cancer is. So looking at the archetype or the energies that are playing out in the sign of Capricorn at this time, with Venus retrograding here, connecting a couple of times with Pluto recently, it hasn't been easy. This is where we're clearing things out that don't work for us, things that don't provide us with that safety and that security. Right? This is where we're needing to mature and grow and take the position of power and move forward. It's cardinal Earth. Now, Juno is also here. Juno, the asteroid of commitments and marriage. So marriages and long-term commitments. Now, even commitments that have to do with our career, our goals, and our aspirations, we're looking at right now. Venus is coming up towards, as she's retrograding, she will be connecting with Juno. So let's look at that for a moment. Marriages that are on the rocks could be, we're looking at. Why? Because Venus is retrograde. With a retrograde planet, retrogrades mean that there's a redirecting of the energies. There's more of an internal, we're looking within. We're searching for the wisdom. Is this connection? Is this commitment? Is this relationship worth working on, worth healing? Because if it's not, then Pluto is taking control and letting things die away. Remember, Pluto does speak to abundance, a sense of abundance. It's a plethora, it's much of, it's plentiful, or it's in or out. It's either yes or no. Pluto will give you that ability to shed anything, a connection, a relationship, a position that you're in emotionally. Let's say if you're in a tough position right now, you're in a difficult spot, this is tough love. That's how I describe Venus retrograding in Capricorn and connecting with Pluto. We really have to look at things from a different, more mature position. Is this relationship viable long term? Can this be a rewarding relationship? Is it worth me holding on to this or needing to go through that 10 of Swords in the tarot? Because that's the darkest before the dawn. That's where we're at right now. Is it something that is worth holding on to or not? Because it's time to let it go. And with Pluto, be able to start to build on a brand new beginning, a new chapter with the same relationship? Or is it an old relationship, an old connection, an old situation that is returning from the past? That's what happens with retrograde planets. Now, the sun is bringing the light, the ability to heal, to see through the darkness of that the dark side, the shadow side of Capricorn. Remember, all archetypes, all zodiac signs have got their light and their dark side. The thing is to find the middle ground, not to be totally in fear or totally too confident and too much about taking charge and not adhering or not listening to the other side, and just being that Saturnian dark figure of Kronos. And Kronos, we know, is also the archetype of karma and fear and power. So the sun is bringing clarity to us. The sun is bringing a sense of healing as well. Now, Mercury has been moving through Capricorn as well. Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. So both those archetypes have had to also grow quickly because Mercury is very youthful. It's not a time of play and being, getting out there and just letting your hair down. It's a time of needing to do the work, needing to study, to collaborate, to search, to ask, to communicate on a very practical and real level. As we know, Neptune is in Pisces, which can bring a sense of dreaminess and fantasy and a lack of clarity. We know Neptune in Pisces can be very deceptive as well. So have we been able to see clearly, is this a magical connection, or has there been illusion in our lives? What is Capricorn for you? Where is Capricorn in your own chart? Which area of life is Capricorn? Those of you that are familiar with your own natal charts, you would know that we put our rising in this position here, and therefore we see which area of life Capricorn is. Those of you that want more details, more understanding on how the horoscope works, the astrology, do join us on Patreon, Tier 3. That's where you get more of the information, more of the explanations. So yes, beginning of the year, we've had the Sun trining over to Uranus. Uranus in Taurus, in stable Taurus, Earth fixed Taurus, which Uranus is bringing changes. There's a lack of wanting to move. The Taurian archetype wants stability, wants that materialistic security, needs to see where is the money. I need to see the money, or I don't move forward. But Uranus is bringing instability. Is it money matters for you? Is it a sense of emotional security? Does it have anything to do with your self-worth? Because Uranus is bringing the house down. Uranus is bringing the those ups and downs in our emotional security, as well as our practical and material-based securities and our monies. Remember, Taurus is the earth. It also speaks to how we nurture and feed our own bodies through what the earth provides for us. So it does speak to nourishing our bodies, nourishing our lives, being able to have that sense of security as an individual, standing as individuals. So Taurus is what we own. And there's a lot of tower moments that we're all going through with Uranus. And if we're stuck in a situation that does not provide us with those securities, then the changes will come as tower moments, because Uranus is that tower, it's that awakening, and it brings havoc to a sense of security when this could be a false sense of security that we have sort of imagined we're okay. And then comes Uranus and says, no, you're not okay. And we know that the planets are archetypes. They are the gods that are steering us towards the right path. So when we're having tower moments, it means that spirit is saying, you've come off the path, that your soul's path, your soul's calling. You need to be shifted. Shifts need to happen in your life, and they can be very challenging. As we know, the whole of 2021 with Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus, it's about the old ways of doing things, Saturn. It's about those limitations, because we need to have the changes in our lives that we've been limited by because of karma, because of maybe even a false sense of security. And Uranus comes to turn our lives upside down on a larger scale, on a collective energy. We know that Saturn does speak to the governments, to those that are in positions of power that want to hold on to the old way of doing things. And Uranus is the people, which are starting to, the energies are starting to shift as humanity is pushing back on the rules and regulations, maybe that are very Saturnian and very limiting and filled with fear. As we know, our freedoms have been challenged, and Uranus needs freedom. The people need freedom. Remember that Uranus also rules Aquarius, so it's new ways of doing old situations. It's that ingenious mind, Uranus, will try new things. It's having that vision from above, being able to see from a higher perspective, from that higher source, because Uranus is very spiritual as well, very intelligent. Remember that Aquarius is that ingenious mind. And it's also connecting to groups and associations. It's intelligent conversation. It's figuring things out. It's discovering things maybe that have been hidden. It's the light. And many times, as you know, in the tarot, Uranus is, Aquarius, being that intelligent, higher mind, is depicted by the eagle, which the eagle has 20/20 vision. There's strong intelligence. Now, the eagle has got a sense of leadership. Even though Aquarius prefers to do things in a group environment, they still are the ones that will stand out in a crowd, within a crowd. And we are dealing with a lot of karma, everyone. As we know in the mythology, Saturn, Kronos, and Uranus, the father, they battled it out pertaining to leadership. Who's going to take that position in the throne, take the throne from the other? So matters of power are what's going on here. It's a power struggle. And Pluto in Capricorn, which Capricorn is leadership. Pluto is breaking down. The patriarchy that's been in a position of reigning for thousands of years, that is breaking down slowly but surely. And Pluto does also speak to the people as well. So, Pluto can be literal, but he can also be metaphorically speaking, where, yes, we have seen a lot of people leaving this planet, passing on with what's been going on in the world in the past couple of years. Now, with the new year, we're moving into new energies. Jupiter has now ingressed into, has returned back to Pisces, which is very positive. This is spiritual. This is the spiritual archetype of Pisces, that vision, that the ability to expand. And even though our beliefs have been challenged greatly with the South Node transitioning through Sagittarius for the past year and a half, and the North Node through Gemini, we've had to search. We've been soul searching. We've been looking for the truth. We've been needing to study, to have a look at both sides, to grow, to become wiser, to become teachers to others who are students, or we are the students and we are being taught by other teachers. That this is the axis, Gemini and Sagittarius, but we're needing to let go of those old beliefs, our beliefs going through challenges, even what we've been taught to believe. So our religion. And I do feel that there's an ascension process that humanity is going through, where those dogmatic beliefs are being looked at, being studied for each individual in the world and through groups, large groups as well. Now, as I said, Jupiter has re-entered Pisces as he visited those first couple of degrees of Pisces last year, mid-May until end of July, roughly, when we felt a sense of freedom, a sense of optimism as we got out and we got about. We came out of our prisons. Prison maybe being lockdowns, being those mandates, and you need to do this and you need to do that, and your freedoms are being taken away from you because supposedly those in power have got all the answers, and their answers have changed many times. So it makes us need to take off those blinders and do our own research and figure things out on our own. Connect to spirit. Pisces is compassion. It's unconditional love. Jupiter now joins Neptune in the sign of Pisces. They will be connecting. This can be magic that is created. But on the negative side, this could be so much of an expansion where deception is concerned, getting lost, because Pisces has got no boundaries. Jupiter can expand the deception of Neptune, and we know that Neptune speaks of mainstream media, things that you hear from those that are in positions to steer humanity in the right way or in the wrong way. And we know that a lot has been going on behind the scenes. A lot has been hidden. We are dealing with a lot of karma. We know that the 12th house can speak to karma, a sense of imprisonment, hospitals, mental asylums. So those that are fearing that sense of imprisonment, there's no way out. That is fear-stricken, emotional, hard boundaries that we are needing to deal with. Now, the boundaries come from Saturn, but remember that Neptune has got no boundaries. So that's why, the middle ground, having boundaries, but in a healthy level, on a healthy scale, is what we're needing. We don't need the hard, harsh, strict boundaries that Saturn, that Capricorn provides or penalizes us with. And when I say Capricorn, I'm talking about those that don't want what is best for humanity. It's more about power. And obviously the boundaries, the boundless Neptune can also have us feeling lost. Whether it's our beliefs, whether it's the compassion that's shared between people or not, whether it's the segregation that has grown between people and humanity, pertaining, of course, to our beliefs and our opinions, and, of course, concerning freedom. So Jupiter can bring the magic, the truth, out of that deception, out of that confusion. And because Jupiter is very strong, he actually rules Pisces, I do believe that it's more about receiving the truth than the expansion and growth of the confusion. At some point, we're going to have so many things that will be shared, so many truths shared, where Jupiter will provide and bring the enlightenment bring the understanding and bring a form of justice and a sense of freedom, the freedom to be able to continue on our adventure, on our soul's path, and our soul's wanting to go on that adventure, literally or metaphorically. Take it as you wish. Now, what we see here is the nodes that they're at the last degrees. On the 18th of January, the nodes are going to shift into Taurus, North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. So it will be not so much about what we've learned, what we've been taught, Gemini and Sagittarius, and how we've had to grow and become wise. We've gone through a time of needing to become wiser, become mature, and maybe even having gone through an ascension process, because we've realized that we are not only living on this 3D dimension, but also living on another higher dimension. So let's think of the nodes having finished now, or finishing up on this axis of Gemini and Sagittarius. As the nodes will transition, so will the energies, everyone. We've already sort of felt the energies shift, because we've already had an eclipse, the first eclipse on the axis Taurus and Scorpio back in November, when we had a lunar eclipse at the last degrees, 27 degrees of Taurus, a full moon in Taurus on the axis Taurus-Scorpio. So we've already felt that the energies are shifting. We see it in our lives, we see it in our environment, that things are starting to move, things are starting to change. We feel a sense of new energies coming through. As I said, new moon, the first new moon of the year, a brand new year, and we're looking towards, obviously, the time of Aries, when we will be having a brand new astrological new year. So it's as though we're sort of ending cycles as well as beginning new cycles on very important, very, very vital, important changes that are coming in for humanity as well as us personally, as the nodes are going to shift on an axis that speaks to our financial securities. Financial securities, emotional securities, generally speaking. It's going to be more of an economical, financial shift that we'll be sort of focusing on or going through for the next year and a half, as the nodes usually stay within an axis for 18 months. That's where we are heading to. So it's as though we are sort of closing up those difficult past couple of years with a pandemic, and the energies are shifting greatly. Now this Saturn-Uranus square is starting to open up, starting to let go. The pressure is leaving us. We'll be revisiting towards the end, the last few months of the year. But it's as though now there's like a loosening up of the energies, as Jupiter again has returned to this position where we're going to feel much more free, much more able to move, to believe what we perceive is the truth. Again, this is like a spiritual alliance with Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces for me. This is like large groups of people, large spiritual groups coming together to join forces and to be those beacons of light that humanity is so much in need of at this time. Now, Jupiter is going to transition very quickly through Pisces, so we'll be talking more about that. As those of you that have got strong Aries in your chart, you will have the blessings of Jupiter in May at some point. So again, it will be a huge energy shift with Jupiter, because Jupiter, we know in mythology, he was the king of the gods. Okay, and he brought the light to humanity. He brought the light. The light speaks to wisdom. It speaks to practical matters in our life. Think of the world without any fire. Think of the world without the light, without the truth. Being surrounded by darkness, nothing grows. And we've also got Mars in Sagittarius. Everyone, Mars loves being in Sagittarius. Mars is our action, it's our desire, the ability to move forward, okay, having the courage to move forward in a very philosophical way, to also have the courage to believe that putting in the effort, striving towards new beginnings. Remember, Mars rules Aries, and Aries is the fighter, it's the fighting spirit. Mars is a masculine energy. Masculine energy is all about movement forward. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Therefore, whatever action Mars takes is because there is wisdom, there is the ability to be very adventurous, to take risks where our beliefs are concerned, believing without maybe having the practical knowledge, but trusting in spirit, and that spirit has our back. Mars is quickly heading towards Capricorn, where he's going to be very strong there as well. So remember that Mars is our desire and our passion. It's all about moving forward. Now, what is it that we desire to create? We need to come from a place of wisdom, come from a place of vision, having that vision for our own future, and move forward with it, with whatever it is that we're hoping to create. Now, I just wanted to point out also that Jupiter is being squared, or is squaring over to the nodes, and squares are never easy. So because Jupiter is very strong and very spiritual and very much about, having the wisdom that our beliefs, even though they've been challenged, the ability to have the inspiration, even though we're feeling uncomfortable with what it is we're needing to shed and let go of, that there's a new chapter around the corner, and that things will possibly work out in our favor. Jupiter in Pisces is also compassion for others, compassion and truth, and overcoming any sense of sacrifice. It is a time of sacrifice right now, sacrificing our own comfortable positions, getting uncomfortable, and moving forward with holding on to our beliefs and knowing, again, I'm going to say that all will be well, that spirit has our back. Now, because Pisces can be a form of escapism and disbelief, and it's got to do a lot with our mental, our psychological health as well. So those of you that are in a position to see that people around you are not Psychologically, they're not feeling very balanced. They're not well. Come from a place of compassion. Try to understand. And if you can give help, if you can provide a helping hand in whichever way that speaks of, please do so. Because that's what we'll be dealing with. There's a lot of psychosis, dark psychosis. Many people are coming through from their shadow side. They're working with their shadow side and they may need some support. So be that beacon of light. Be supportive, emotionally, physically, whatever you can do, whatever we all can do to bring people together and not be in segregation and in animosity. Please help. Now we've got Hygiena in the sign of Scorpio. Hygiena is the asteroid of health. Remember that Scorpio is death transformation. It's also poison and medicine. Jupiter is in a beautiful trine over to Hygiena. This is providing us with things that have been hidden pertaining to health. This is Jupiter is providing us with a sense of justice and truth concerning matters of death, transformation, resurrection, in psychological or physical matters of health pertaining to others, pertaining to groups of people as well, right? And there's a beautiful trine over to Black Moon Lilith. So this is a grand water trine, which is very flowing and it's very magical, very intuitive. Use your higher self, your higher mind, where you are fearing, because Black Moon Lilith can be very challenging. She can be challenging. She's our dark side. We all have that shadow side within us where we're needing to sort of lean on spirit, others, and lean on the ability to be able to create magic and not deception, be able to envision our lives moving forward after these past couple of years of great challenges. Okay, Jupiter in Pisces, remember he does rule the law as well. He rules Sagittarius, he rules the law, he rules justice, and he rules politics as well. And we know that there may be a lot of deception coming through and a lot of politics. People who are in positions of power could be using their power to steer people in the wrong direction. Again, there's a lot of court cases, a lot of litigation going on pertaining again to matters of health, matters concerning people's passing, matters concerning medicines, poisons. We will be seeing a lot of things that will be showing up very soon pertaining to truths coming out, justice being served. And Chiron in Aries, Chiron is here as well. Chiron is in Aries, therefore whatever's going on here in Capricorn, because Aries is also a cardinal sign, they are in, Chiron is being squared or squaring over to these bodies here. Remember that Chiron is a solution, a resolution. It can again relate to matters of health, psychological health, physical health as well. Now Chiron in Aries, Aries is cardinal fire. It's taking leadership, taking the initiative to bring in changes, to find a resolution, to heal through revisiting relationships, any area of life that you have that is Capricorn for you, the area of Capricorn in your own personal horoscope. birth chart, this is what you are trying to find a resolution to. Now as I said, we began the year with the Sun trining over to Uranus. Uranus is preparing to move direct this month, which is fantastic to see. We'll see lots of changes. We can have lots of changes coming through, lots of truths or lots of intelligence, new ways of doing things, doing medicine, changes in practical ways that will give us a sense of security. Is it emotional? Is it practical security? What is it for you? Okay, so that is beautiful. Now Mercury is also ingressed into Aquarius as we move forward. You can see Mercury's in Aquarius here. And Mercury is also preparing to retrograde on the 14th of the month. Mercury is the logical mind. It's in the sign of the brighter mind, which is Aquarius. So there's great intelligence here. A lot of communication pertaining to groups. Remember, Aquarius does speak to social media. It's groups of people. It's the ability to find solutions, logical solutions, new ways of doing conversation, connecting to friends. Remember that Mercury was in a bit of a tough position as he was transiting through Capricorn, but Mercury is going to return to Capricorn as he will retrograde very soon. Right now he is connecting in beautiful ways to the nodes. So things connected to conversation, information, because remember that Mercury trines over to Gemini, which is an air sign, and he's sextiling over to the south node, which is a fire. Fire and air work well together. So having the passion, the desire to move forward, to shed any false beliefs or even misunderstandings or any teachings that do not work for you anymore, any forms of, being withheld from moving forward. Remember, the south node is very karmic. It's like what we've been shedding, what we've been needing to let go of. This could be vital information and conversations pertaining to any teachings or any learning curves that we've been going through. Okay, and as I said, Mercury will be returning to Capricorn, so there's something going on right now. Something's going on as Mercury is starting, obviously, to slow down very soon. Remember, we don't sign anything, any business or collaboration with others, information will start to sort of wreak havoc. Any sort of mobility will sort of slow down as well, because remember that Mercury does rule, it rules health and it rules anything that is mobile, so movements will sort of be challenged as Mercury will retrograde. He will retrograde from mid-month until the beginning of February, so whatever it is that you're needing to take care of, do so now. And right now we're looking at Venus in a beautiful sextile to, let's move to the now, 5th of January. As Venus has reached the 20th degree, she's sextiling over to Neptune. This can be magical as well. But remember, Venus is retrograde. This can be very strong spiritual connection, so spiritual relationship, maybe even the ability to see the clarity after the confusion, because remember, Venus is like calibrating. She's redirected right now. She's going within because she's needing to work through anything that's been limiting her forward momentum. Why? Because of those rose-colored glasses of Neptune, or because of, remember that Neptune is very dreamy. It's like being in a cloud, like anything that you've envisioned, feeling as though you can make it happen. But it's like it can speak to, confusing oneself, that there can be a magical connection here, but does it work practically? Can it become real, says Venus in Capricorn? So that's the work she's doing right now. And we can also say that Juno is in sextile to Neptune. So any forms of deception or lies or even deceiving ourselves will be looked at now, have got the potential to work with. We will be given the tools, but we still need to take action. Now remember the degrees that Venus is retrograding here from the 11th to the 27th. She will be passing over those degrees again. So we could probably have the resolution of what's going on now in the near future. Okay, so we're doing the work now. Now, Venus and Mars in the near future will be connecting, so this will have a lot to do with love affairs or with our values, the effort we put in so that we can move forward with things that bring us a sense of security. Okay, that can pertain to work, to our environment, to family issues. Now, the Sun and Venus in 3.5 days, right now, we've got Venus sextiling over to Neptune. Let's move forward. Let's watch Venus and the Sun. As you can see, Venus and the Sun are connecting here. This is a very important connection. So on the 8th, going on to the 9th, depending on where you are in the world, this is Venus in the heart of the Sun, which means Venus is in Cazimi. This is very powerful, and it's closing up an 8-year cycle, everyone, which Venus is dealing with. A closing up of a cycle. Where were you at 8 years ago? What was going on for you end of 2013 into 2014? This is the ending of that cycle, and Venus is potentially starting a new cycle right now, which can promise something very rewarding, but the work needs to be done. We need to put in the effort, and we need to stand strong and be that Saturnian, that leader, that emperor, that empress. Okay? So now, coming up to that, it is very important in matters of love, money, our securities. Mercury also, roundabout now, will be sextiling over to Chiron. So those important conversations, a sextile says that the energies are here from spirit. What are we willing to do with those energies? Because a sextile, yes, is divine source, but we actually need to move our hands. So figuring things out to find a resolution or a solution in any wounds that we hold or that we've been carrying in our lives. And also the Sun sextiling over to Neptune. This can speak to magic as well. So we've got a few really good days coming through, really beautiful days. For some of us, this can also bring a sense of understanding that there has been deception as well. And why do I say that? Because Mars will also square over to Neptune, and that is not easy energy. Okay, remember that Sagittarius and Pisces are mutable signs, so we're talking about the mutable cross, right? Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo. We can sort of figure out that there's been a confusion or an illusion or deception, and this can maybe even, I would say, sort of put a fire, get us fired up and get us in a position where we're more more forced to keep going, even though it's an unhealthy connection. That's how I see Mars squaring over to Neptune. It is unhealthy, and it can speak to matters of health as well. But the good thing is that Mars is coming up to the galactic center once it touches that 27th, 28th degree. This is the galactic center, which will bring a sense of positivity through Mars. So yes, the energies are fluctuating. We've got positive things going on and negative. We're coming out of the woods. That's the title I want to use for this reading today. And just as Mars is going to square over to Neptune, Mercury is going to station to turn retrograde, because there's some information or some miscommunication or some misinformation that we need to look at. Mercury needs to go back and connect to Pluto. He's going back into the underworld because he's missed some details that, things that we need, messages that we need from source, so that we could start building on that firm foundation through coming through a place of love, compassion, and understanding for those others in our lives, for where we're standing emotionally, physically, where the world is standing as well, not only personally but also collectively. And then the sun will come to connect with Pluto, as you could see here on the 11th of January. On the 11th of January, we're having the sun on Juno. So this is beautiful. I love this, absolutely, because we've got Venus, Sun, and Juno. This is really positive news for relationships. Okay, and just the fact that Jupiter is squaring over to the nodes, it's saying that we need to hold on to our beliefs, that whatever is showing up that's difficult and challenging right now, know that we will come out of this. Okay, and the sun is coming up to connect with Pluto, and this is powerful, great power in the hands of humanity. Sometimes it can be the sun which brings healing, it brings heart, matters of heart, and it can powerfully bring a sense of healing. So the light shows us the darkness. It will give us a sense of vitality to powerfully take that position to bring in the newness, let go, shed what has been dark in our lives, and create something from the heart. We're going to see a lot of things coming out in the news as well about those that are in positions of power that have been in their shadow side, doing those Cronian, those Saturnian dark things that are not working well for humanity. So being able to see the illusion, the disillusion, and being able to transform and bring a sense of riches. And when I speak of riches, not only emotional but also materialistic riches to the people. So I feel that there's like a change, a shift, where the securities are leaving from those few that are in a position of power, the patriarchy, and shifting over to the people. Okay, I think I've sort of covered most of what's going on in the astrology. I want to thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for following me on social media, on Patreon, and from the past. Those of you that have been with me for a few years, I'd like to thank you so much for your support. Those of you that support Divine Debut and have learned a lot from Divine Debut and share our paths. We're sharing our paths together. We're moving forward and trying to bring the light to others. It's been a beautiful journey up to here, and I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I will catch up with you soon. Got lots to do, everyone. Got to run. I'm hoping that 2022 will bring the love, the compassion, the security, the freedom that we all deserve, and the togetherness, because that's been also challenged greatly. Love and light to all of you.